So here's your Fuso grid for race 19, 200 kilometres, and another Red Bull front row. Lowndes and Whincup, very impressive lap from Lowndes today. Dave Reynolds, best season qualifying. Jason Bright, who's been very consistent and very fast. James Courtney also showing great glimpses of speed, and we've seen Fabian all year up at the pointy end. Van Gisbergen's been strong. Mostert, that's his best qualifying. In terms of his teammate, he's jumped his teammate this time, and that for Russell Ingall, great performance to be the fastest of the guys with a hard tyre new set on the grid right now. McLaughlin a little bit further back. That's his worst of the season so far. Todd Kelly, he's also got new tyres, new hard tyres, so that will be a benefit. Nick Percat struggled for pace all weekend. Tim Slade, Jack Perkins a little bit better. Jack's moved a little farther forward, and Scott Pye, who was right behind McLaughlin in qualifying, couldn't get a lap out of that car either. These two cars have underperformed all weekend. They won't be happy with how they've gone, and today a lot of strategy to work out the best scenario to get to the end. David Wall, 25th. This is going to be an intriguing battle. Soft tyres, hard tyres at the start. Where do I put my soft tyre on, and how do I get the best run, Neil? How do I make sure I've got the fastest car at the end?
David Reynolds on screen at the moment. Remember, you can identify who's got the Dunlop soft tyre on based on the colour of the sidewall. It's white, and the light inside the windscreen and on the side of the car. Here's the run through of the cameras that we've got on board, as we mentioned a few moments ago. Tim Slade, car number 47. Let's get to Brett's.
There is nothing like Darwin. The strategies that are about to play out are just a myriad. Every team virtually appears to have something different they're doing. And this crowd of Territorians, they know it as well. Have a look at them pressed up against the fences here, just in anticipation of the start of this race. And it's the same where you look all around this circuit, from across here at the Hidden Valley sign, over into the Horseshoe, in the far reaches, and up here in the corporate areas as well. Everyone knows we're in for a special race. These conditions are ideal. We are looking forward to getting this started, guys.
Thanks, Barrett's. Mark Beretta, Rihanna Cree and Mark Larkham working the pit lane. Chief Minister is on screen on the right, Adam Giles. He had a ride with James Courtney earlier in the weekend and absolutely enjoyed it. On the left of screen is the V8 Supercars starter, Damien White. The cars are coming up into position. We've got 25 cars headed by Craig Lowndes. Birthday yesterday, 40 years of age. He's on fire today with a beautiful lap in qualifying. He's got an extra set of tyres up his sleeve in terms of usage. He's got a brand new set of softs available for later in the race. It's a big strategy question mark. Some of the answers are going to come up pretty soon, and there'll be big speed differences within this field. Lowndes and Whincup on hards. Reynolds, Bright and Courtney on softs. They'll be quick. Watch for them from row 2 and 3. Beautiful jump by Lowndes. Reynolds goes with him. Whincup has had a bad start. He's dropped 3 positions already. It's Lowndes. It's Reynolds, who could round up Lowndes on the outside. He's got extra grip, remember. Courtney on the inside, position 3. Chaz Mostert looking racy on the outside as well. Bright drops back. Whincup's got a struggle on his hands. And in the lead, as predicted, round the outside, Davey Reynolds.
Great job. You predicted it. He drove right round there, and he got that manoeuvre made. Down the inside goes Mostert. He might get it. Oh, he does. He gets by Courtney. I thought he was going to run into the back of Craig Lowndes. Now we'll do the crisscross, and down the inside he goes.
Mostert's on soft tyres. Lowndes is not. That's the advantage that you just saw under brakes and mid-corner for the grip. So forward 1 and 2. Reynolds and Mostert. Lowndes is next. Remember that Ingall is on the hard tyre as well. Remember I talked about speed differences. In this opening couple of laps, those that are on soft tyres are going to belt the living daylights out of those that have got hard tyres on. It's Reynolds, Mostert, Lowndes, Courtney. Huge congestion in the mid-pack. All those with soft tyres will quickly float towards the top. But how long can they make them last is the question mark. It's a long, long race. 69 laps, 200 kilometres. Percat attacking Davison.
Percat and Davison down the inside of Van Gisbergen. And there is just huge speed differential with this. You can see Courtney now gets down the inside. He makes that manoeuvre stick on Craig Lowndes. One of the things that's really interesting here, Croppo, is that the teams have to try to tell the drivers who's looming on them. Because if you don't know the other guy's got a soft tyre, you end up battling for no reason.
And the difference in the braking distances and the mid-corner speed's enormous. This is Bright on the outside. He's battling Lowndes. Bright's on the soft tyre. He's trying to round up Lowndes on the hard tyre. He'll get him here. He'll have superior traction and mid-corner speed. Away he goes. That's Winterbottom. We're riding with Frosty. He grabs Craig Lowndes as well. So the soft tyres, no surprise, are floating to the top. Reynolds, Mostert, Courtney, Bright, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Tander. Tander's got the gun sights now right on the back of Craig Lowndes, and he'll grab him down into turn 1. Here they are. So Tander can position easily, come on the inside of the straight underneath Craig Lowndes, picks up the throttle, and he'll have him down the other end. There's Bright on screen, position number 4. The speed shot shows how quick they are, and there goes Tander down the inside of Lowndes. He'll easily outbrake him down here.
If you think about this strategy, for Red Bull to be on the front row of the grid and not choose to run soft tyres and make the most of that qualifying means there is serious strategy at play here. You put hard tyres on, you're going backwards, you're losing ground, and you're not making the most of that qualifying. So at the end of the day, there must be a reason. And this will be really intriguing to see how this unfolds, because they should have been on softs given where they qualified.
And they're playing for a little game later in this race. There'll be 2 fuel stops, a race of 3 segments, therefore 3 sets of tyres on the car. We're watching Mark Winterbottom at the moment, who's boxing the ears of Jason Bright. He's looking high and low. They're both on the same tyre, by the way. Further back in the midfield, there's McLaughlin. Been a while since he's had to battle around in 15th position. That's where he is at the moment. It was a difficult qualifying, and down the inside, Rick Kelly, 4th position and done. McLaughlin's on a hard tyre, by the way, but so is Rick Kelly. This is Russell Ingall.
Did they bump?
Looked awfully like it to me. And Lowndes on the outside.
Remember, Ingall's on a hard tyre, but he's on a new hard tyre. So a much better quality tyre compared to Craig Lowndes. So same compound, but a new tyre. The 2 winners so far have been the FPR guys. Mostert's grabbed 6 spots, Winterbottom 5 spots.
Will Davison grabs a spot on Craig Lowndes. That's moved him up to 8th position. So Lowndes drops behind Percat now. That makes him 11th. He's going to lose another couple of spots here. Tim Slade grabs him. Scott Pye will grab him too. So Davison, Percat, Slade and Pye, they're on a soft tyre. This is turn 7. Replay of the start. Beautiful jump by Craig Lowndes. Jamie Whincup just didn't get the jump at all. Reynolds immediately knew he was strong. He got away as quickly as Lowndes, but he did it on the soft tyre, so he went straight to the outside. This is looking rearward from Whincup's car. Too much wheel spin. Wheel spin in first, and then subsequent wheel spin when he changed gear.
He did a good job to get it to the inside. Did a great job. What happens when it's in the traffic jam of that, the spatial awareness and making sure you can actually get your car across to the inside is very hard to do. Did a great job. This is the replay of Ingall with Lowndes. He moves it out, moves it out, moves it out, moves it out. Little bump, little bump.
Well, and then ends up on the extreme left-hand side of the road. I'm not sure what that was all about. There might have been a little bit more to the story prior to what we're seeing. So this is Jason Bright now. We're watching Jack Perkins in car 18, Gelben Racing. He's off the hard, onto the soft tyre.
And Neil, the only guy who's on a hard tyre in the top 10 now is Russell Ingall. And the man that won both races yesterday, Jamie Whincup, is back to 13th.
And remember, they have to deliver 120 litres of United E85 fuel to the cars, but they can do it how they choose. Larko?
Oh, wow, boys, I'm just reflecting on that vision of Craig Lowndes getting bashed from pillar to post and everyone going by him. Psychologically, for a driver, how hard is it to cop that and not get involved, as he did with Russell, with a little bit of wheel banging and bend your steering? So it may be a good strategy, but gee whiz, it's a dangerous one, isn't it?
The risk is pretty high because it tangles you with everybody. And clearly one of the great successes, particularly yesterday for Red Bull Racing, is exactly the opposite of that, not having to race anyone. Clear air, do your own thing. But when you're doing what they're doing at the moment, they do run a risk. But they're playing to later in the day. So let's think forward. Let's fast forward our lives. What have they got up their sleeve for the latter segments of the race, segments 2 and 3? That's going to be the intriguing question.
That was my point earlier. When you've been on the front row of the grid, you put yourself in a high-risk situation. We've seen so many guys take liberties on Craig Lowndes. This is one right now. Slade down the inside of him, the replay at turn 6. Scott Pye also makes that manoeuvre on Lowndes. So, as you said, it's a high-risk game, but there'll be a yield, there'll be a reward down the road a little bit further.
And to add more pain to it, boys, as you alluded to earlier, Skate, for those tyres on Craig's car, remember, they've done a full race yesterday, more than 100 Ks. We'd consider that junk. You'd throw them away under normal circumstances.
Yeah, exactly right.
So to put it in perspective, right now, Lowndes is 16.7 seconds from the lead of the motor race, and the top 10 cars, all on softs, all leading the race. The first hard tyre in the field is Russell Ingall. So as we said, there'd be differences. Well, there sure was, and it took 6 racing laps to shake them all out. The leader at the moment, he's got a hefty margin of 4.5 seconds, and opening the gap is David Reynolds. He's doing a great job here in Darwin. We're on lap 9 of 69. Sky City Triple Crown. We're in Darwin. The sky is so blue. It's so hot out there at the moment. And we've got the Pepsi Max Ford Performance Racing sandwich, and the filling is a Holden Racing Team car at the moment with James Courtney. So that's Mostert in second in the foreground. We're riding on the front bumper of James Courtney's car, and right behind him is Mark Winterbottom. Second, third and fourth this battle. Jack Perkins is in front, effectively one lap down. He came in and got off the hard tyre. He's now on the soft tyre. And Adam De Borre, engineer for Chaz Mostert, just said to him, don't bother about racing James. If he pokes the nose, let him go. So expect that Chaz will not fight too hard here. You can hear evidence of cars on the hard cut, on the rev limiter, in top gear at the end of the straight down there then. So Jack getting rounded up. We're riding now with Winterbottom, looking at the back of Courtney, and that's his teammate Mostert just in front. Turns 2, 3 and 4, great ride. It's a real roller coaster through there, and then this right-hander back to second gear, heading up into the valley. Winterbottom will have a look here. He looks strong.
He was close.
It's a busy scene out there. It's back to first gear when you're having a go when the tyres are crisp. It's not as easy to manage first gear as the tyres get a little bit older, so some will choose later in the day to perhaps even just stroll around there in second gear. try and look after those rear tyres, but that tends to make a bit more understeer in the middle of the corner. You can throttle steer the car better in first gear.
This is great. We're looking back in the top right there from James Courtney, back at the body language of Mark Winterbottom's car. It looks like it's got very, very good pace. In fact, on the previous lap, it was Dave Reynolds was the fastest and Winterbottom was the next fastest of the top 5 cars. So he's got very good speed, but again, he'll be held up a little bit here in this battle with not just Mostert, but James Courtney.
Big temperatures in the front end of this car we're looking at here right now. Mark Winterbottom, peak brake temperature at the end of the front straight here is 950 degrees. That's excluding the involvement of another car. So they'll be up around 1,000 degrees, Frosty's car at the moment. The water temperature's going up as well, so is the oil temperature, and so is the driver's heart rate. He has a look again at the hairpin at 6. You've got to try and be racy, but at the same time, not punish these tyres too much. They've got great pace down the straight. The wind's dropped off a little bit relative to earlier in the day and yesterday where it was quite strong. When they're on that hard cut in top gear down there with the diff ratio that they've got in the car, that's 266 kilometres an hour. Into the final complex here, double apex left-hander, turns 13, 14. Winterbottom very early on the pickup on the throttle. So was Courtney, ran with him. Let's enjoy this. Crank it up, folks, and listen to a wild lap. 2.87 kilometres around Hidden Valley Raceway. McPherson on the radio. Looking after the tyres was the message there. That's echoing up and down the lane on radios at the moment. Oh, Winterbottom looks. He's got position. There might be a little bit of light contact in the middle of the corner. James didn't fight too hard then. It's not over. They'll be side by side through 2, 3 and 4, and Courtney hangs on.
It's been very, very gentlemanly through turn 1.
Got him.
Good move down the inside.
He's on for the crisscross. Courtney wants to come back on the outside. That'll be hard to achieve. Reynolds, Mostert, Winterbottom, Ford, 1, 2 and 3. Courtney the first Holden in 4th. Then it's Tander Bright, Davison, Percat, Slade, Pye. And incidentally, while we're watching this battle, car number 17 has come in as well. So David Wall, Wilson Security Racing for Dick Johnson, has come in and gone on to a soft tyre. So he's done his first stint on those hards. Here's the pass, turn 5, looking rearward from James Courtney's car. The margin that David Reynolds has got is handsome. Pretty close, isn't it? This is the sort of stuff that you see in the driver's seat. The situational awareness is vitally important. You've got to know what's going on in front, beside and behind your car. 7.1 seconds is the gap. Reynolds to Mostert. He's doing a great job in front. He took command on the outside at lap number 1. And he hasn't been headed. Looking very, very strong. He's on his 14th lap on these tyres. They're still lapping very well in the high 11s.
that camera. Down, Johnny. And then 4 seconds left. 2 seconds. Go.
Welcome back to Darwin, our coverage of the Sky City Triple Crown. This is Chaz Mostert in the pit lane, out of position 2, and they've diagonalled the tyres on car 6. So the first to blink of the front runners, Pepsi Max Ford Performance Racing, waiting for fuel. They've crossed the tyres. Meantime, at Red Bull Racing Australia, Lowndes and Whincup are 30 and 35 seconds respectively behind the lead play. And they're actually getting passed at the moment by others on harder tyres. What about this exchange between Todd and Jamie Whincup? Remember, the Jack Daniels cars have got younger, hard tyres. Saw some shots in the break of the Red Bull cars. They're sliding all over the place at the moment. So they've got their hands full big time. Last corner complex here, riding with Rick Kelly. Rick is tucked in behind Craig. You can see very different lines. Grabbing top gear just opposite the race control area. Water temperatures up to 113 degrees. They're on lap 17 indication, and here's now Whincup getting off these hard tyres, these bruised Dunlop hard tyres that they've got. And ready to couple the United E85 ethanol. We'll watch that fuel flow meter on the left. Tyres are all good. Tear off away from the front of the car, waiting for the clock to tick. It's a time stop for them. Fuel rate 3.7 litres per second of United E85 going in. So cold softs.
Cold soft tyres. There are some cars on exit. They should pass you.
So, as David Couchy gave Jamie Whincup a little rundown as he was driving out, he basically gave up 40 seconds to the leaders. That is a lot of time to make back.
Those last couple of laps were even more harmful. It was sitting at about 35 seconds, and the last couple have dropped off even more, so that was time to get off those tyres. So now we'll start to see what these strategy games deliver. Lee Holdsworth in. He's position 16.
So we'll just check out what actually happened with Mostert, because it looked to me like he swapped the fronts over but put fresh rears on. So there's a lot of permutations. Mark Larkham said it earlier. There's a lot of different strategy as Fabian Coulthard comes in. We'll watch these carefully for you.
There was a little bit of damage around the left rear of that car I saw there as it came in as well. It's just had a little whack in the back. Larko?
Yeah, just to add that, what they did, exactly what we were talking about earlier, they put his front left tyre onto his right rear, because that's the least used tyre here, so that'll give them a run now to put a good set of soft tyres on later in the race. And I see Craig Lowndes' tyres out here now, and I think we've also got to leave in here the factor of potentially safety car. We haven't seen one for a long time, but those guys on hard tyres will now benefit if we get a safety car from this point on.
Jack Perkins on screen at the moment on those soft tyres. Remember, he was first to stop. Lowndes is in. From 13th position, so's James Moffat.
And he was 35 seconds behind Neil, so he was a little bit better off than Whincup. Let's check this out. Ooh, then past the marks. He's about half a metre past where he should have been there. It's okay other than the fuel nozzle in terms of length. All the other things are easy. Yep, the fuel nozzle's okay. So that was, he got away with that. It was a little mistake. Very slippery, that concrete. Locked the wheels and ran by the bay. Just see where he comes out versus his teammate. There he is up. You can see Whincup just coming past the starter's box.
Jason Bright's come in as well. McLaughlin coming out. So here he is, car number 33. So it's still Reynolds, Winterbottom, Courtney up the top of the field. Here's Jason Bright.
I'm surprised by how far Reynolds and Winterbottom and Courtney have run on the soft tyre, Crompo.
Did these guys just do 2 tyres then on 8?
It looked like it.
So waiting for fuel.
We'll find out for you on that one.
Go.
Heat soak's an issue in those stops as well. So these cars rely on airflow through the radiator. So there's a huge spike of temperature. So let's just focus again on the tyres. So yeah, it's rears only. Oh no, it's a diagonal, is it?
It's all the working tyres. So it's the 2 rears and the right front. The left front's a spectator.
That boggled me. So that's yet another permutation.
That's right. So the left front, they've said, leave that one on there. Some witness marks from some tyre action alongside the Wilson security. There's a bit of biffing and barging going on with Slade and Moffat in the foreground behind Scott Pye. And we're going to keep it up because Moffat's going to move it out. They're right alongside each other. There's nothing in it in a straight line.
What's impressive at the moment, Mark, is that Winterbottom is quick. 1 minute 12.0 last lap for him. He's actually taken margin out of David Reynolds in the recent past. He's down to 3 seconds now as we're watching James Moffat just blazing by with Tim Slade. So Moffat came in on lap 18 for fuel and tyres.
Winterbottom, he's actually taken almost 4 seconds over the last few laps.
So David going so hard so early may have hurt those tyres in the lead car. This is car number 16 we're looking at the moment. Scotty Pye. He was in the mid-pack yesterday and just had a frustrating run. One of the teams not to test in the break between Perth and Darwin. So he's been on his mountain bike doing as much training as he can. He's about to be rounded up here. Down the left-hand side, you'll see him blaze by in the yellow Norton Hornet. So James Moffat grabs another spot and his march forward. He's unlapping himself. So Reynolds, 2.1 seconds the gap to Winterbottom. There it is, still to pit. Zeros on the right-hand side of that graphic on screen at the moment, and Rick Kelly in from 10th onto the soft.
Your wheels are done, mate. We've got a clear pit line. Still got a clear pit line, mate. You'll be good to go when you drop. Go.
So we're working numbers out everywhere here because we're trying to work out the degradation. Mark Larkham explained very well before the start of the race about what was going to happen with a hard tyre, how much time it loses on roughly 25 laps. The same thing applies in a much more severe way with the soft tyre. So we're working out for you. We think the degradation is a bit less than we first envisaged, which is actually going to help the guys who started on soft tyres.
Just on that topic, Mark, 1 minute 13.4 last lap for Reynolds, 12.2 for Winterbottom, and he's only 0.9 behind. Frosty's going to grab the lead of the race in a minute. Look at this. Todd Kelly on the outside of Scott McLaughlin. These guys arguing for 17th and 18th.
So our degradation rate, this is weird numbers, it's a bit scientific, but it's 0.04 of a second per lap on Winterbottom's car. It's clearly the best car on the soft tyre at the moment of the guys that started on the softs. So he's doing a very good job. Far and away the fastest car. And there he is. He's made all that ground up. Neil said before the previous break that Reynolds had a 7-second lead. He's knocked that 7 seconds right out and he's got there. So Reynolds is coming in, and that will be 2 reasons. There'll be some car set up in that, but he also went very fast early. So when you use those tyres hard, especially because they're new, they've only had 1 heat cycle. Remember that when tyres have a heat cycle, they tend to get harder because the rubber compound matures as a consequence.
They're making little adjustments, so they've actually changed a bit of the preload in the back of that car. Must have hurt its rears too much, as we suspected. But I believe Believe they're going to bring Winterbottom in next lap. That surprises me because he's got very good pace and those tyres are not shot on that car at the moment. Russell Ingall's in from 9th position at the moment. Hards off, softs on. So it was a low 12 last lap for Winterbottom. He's got 5.4 seconds over Courtney. It'll be a fuel limitation. It'll be a fuel limitation that's actually brought him in. The tyres have outperformed all of our expectations.
Boys, I'm just down here at the Winterbottom pit stop. So he's his 4 soft tyres about to go on. Now, if we have a look at the temperature of a cold tyre, about ambient, 38 degrees. Now, watch when he comes in, really important, he pulls up, his wheel is going to line up, bang up with his guys. Watch this, spot on, whack off. Now, what I do want to show you is the temperature of the tyre that's just come off. 102 degrees. Remember, water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. That is one stinking hot tyre.
Oh, there's a safety car. We've got a problem with a Volvo here. So this is going to be a game changer. It's Robert Dahlgren that's gone off the road. And typically with the dry grass here in the dry season in winter, it's very easy to ignite. Don't know why Robert's ended up off the road down there, but he's gone off big time. That's triggered a safety car. That throws all the strategies up in the air. The first Petters safety car we've seen, I think, since Winton earlier in the year. But whatever it was a long time ago. And wow, this will get them going on the calculators, trying to figure out the best way to manage strategy here.
We were laughing earlier. It's roughly 1,000 kilometres of racing since the last safety car. So what does it do to Winterbottom? So you've got to say, how does that, for him now, at least he's made that stop. These guys are going to make this stop under safety car, so there's benefit in this. In terms of strategy, it's going to be very interesting to see how that affects the Winterbottom exit. And what it does for track position for Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup, who were 3 positions behind Winterbottom.
There's a couple of guys that are going to get a nice benefit from having young soft tyres, or Percat getting tyres diagonal here. Remember that Ingall's got basically brand new unused soft tyres, nothing on the right front of that car of Nick Percat's. Wow, it's pandemonium here in Darwin. Stay with us.
Okay, mate. Fairly long there, mate. What have we done? So once you drop, you'll be good to go. Push round to the queue, mate. Push round to the queue.
Safety car on the straight up to 100, and just on the right straight, the rest of the time at 80. Vehicle of the recovery being carried out at 5. You can see the head cam, which is off track.
Sorry, mate. Sorry for the confusion there. Trying to call you in on the first lap. We got the second lap. It's all good. We got our fuel. Might have lost 1 position there, but it's going to make us fast for the long run, mate.
Petter's safety car's got control of the field at the moment because Robert Dahlgren in the Volvo's gone off at turn 5, went straight ahead, triggered a little grass fire, neutralised the field, thrown all the strategy up. We'll come back to that. Here's the race highlights so far. And remember the great variance of speed between the cars. Reynolds started on a soft tyre and around the outside turn 1 immediately to the lead. Russell Ingall, contact with Craig Lowndes on the run down the straight with hard tyres on both cars, but young ones on Russell's car. All those that had a soft tyre have gravitated to the top of the field in the early phase of the race. Those that were on the hard tyres, particularly our focus there on Red Bull Racing Australia, dropped down the order. Winterbottom, though, has been very, very quick. His tyre wear numbers and the tapering of his lap times, which we describe as degradation, been very impressive. He still had very good speed even towards the very end of that stint. Been some frantic stuff go on in the pits. The change of tempo in the race when the safety car comes out has really thrown things up, and we're going to do a lot of numbers for you to try and work it all out. But we're tracking all these variations in lap speed performance here between those that had soft tyres and those that didn't. Remember that yesterday, Jack Daniels Racing altered the way in which they approached yesterday's races to have more tyre availability today with their strategy, and that was the moment that Robert Dahlgren had down there at turn 5 before triggered this little grass fire. Big shout out to the marshals who did a great job there of saving a $500,000 car rapidly, so thanks to all of the marshals and the flaggies who do a brilliant job for us at each location. So the Petters Chrysler safety cars got the field. David Reynolds is the leader. Russell Ingall's got young, if not new, soft tyres on the car. Slade's come in, topping up with fuel. Now remember, there's a couple of people here. I haven't been able to track all of them. Got too many things going on at the moment. But what they've done is they've used the opportunity. Wow, how's the arrival of Tander? He actually copped one then, didn't he? He nearly, I mean, very easily could have gone into the back of James with all that going on. There are some who've taken the opportunity to also squirt some fuel in, which means they sit still stationary for a shorter period of time later. It becomes more about a tyre stop. So we're going to try and do our best to give you a snapshot on what all that means. Reynolds is the leader. There are a lot of stories in the lane.
Yeah, they're smiling in the lane here at the Red Bull HQ, Mark Dutton. That safety car, sometimes they play against you, sometimes they play for you. That one's worked out okay.
Yeah, definitely. We were still confident in the strategy without a safety car, but this has really played to our hand.
How are the boys holding up?
Oh, excellent. We were doing a bit tough on those used hards, I should say, but that was the plan. We knew that would happen. We wanted to hold out so that we could finish strong with 2 good sets of softs.
Feeling pretty confident?
A long way to go, mate. Can't be confident this heat.
Good done. Thanks.
Cheers, Brett.
Well done, Barretts, and that is absolutely the story of the safety car, because we saw this man almost 40 seconds from the lead when he came in using the old hard tyres at the start. Craig Lowndes was roughly 35 seconds from the lead. Both of those guys now have been able to have those pit stops affected and have had the field bunched up. So they've taken a big chunk out of that 35 and 40 second deficit.
What I'm curious about is why the rear wing is separated off the Volvo there. It could actually be the reason why he rotated. We've had that happen in open wheelers in yesteryear, and it destabilises the car enormously. So the rear wing end plates and the main plane have separated on that car. Unless there was contact that we didn't see, that's a question to follow up.
So, Tim, some different strategy options being played out now. We just saw that probably did land nicely for Red Bull next door. People like Russell Ingall that ran on the hard tyre. Where does it leave you guys from here on in on the strategy you're on?
It's not great. I mean, it sort of compromised our day, the Swedish tractor going off. But anyway, we'll punch away. I mean, Frosty still had really good lap times after 20 laps. So Chaz is on a little bit of a different strategy as well. So we've still got some reasonable tyres to put on for the last stint. But, yeah, they've got obviously a green set to put on.
And isn't it funny, mate, our game? I mean, we haven't had a safety car for something like 1,000 kilometres, and pretty well within a window of a couple of laps when you didn't want it, you got it.
That was the exact lap that we didn't want a safety car on. But, you know, we've got to just roll with it. You know, I think we've still got half a chance. So, and there's a long way to go. 41 laps, a lot can happen in that time.
All right, cheers, Tim.
Thanks, mate.
Tim Edwards, their team principal, Pepsi Max Ford Performance Racing. There's his opposite number, Ryan Walkinshaw from the Holden Racing team. Reynolds, Mostert, Winterbottom, 1, 2 and 3 for Ford. Then the first Holden is James Courtney. Next in the Holden queue is Jason Bright, he's 5th. Then Will Davison for Erebus Motorsport. The E63 AMG entry, 6th. Then Lowndes is 7th. Whincup 8th. Rick Kelly 9th. Scotty Pye is 10th. Everybody's on a soft tyre, but they're varying in their age quite substantially. There'll be big speed variances in this little run here as well. Wow, that was it's busy, very active. An ice cream headache trying to unravel it all. So I was making the point a little bit earlier. There are several out there. They've also topped up some fuel. It's much more of a duke it out sprint run. Davey's got control. They made an adjustment to the rear of the car to settle it down, to look after its rear tyres. He needs that because Winterbottom was super consistent near the back end. How's the speed shot? Rubber's flying, dirt's flying. Tyres have cooled out somewhat. You've got to be a little bit careful if you're too greedy under brakes and too hungry mid-corner.
Wow,
Nick Percat out very wide. That's an example of just getting in too hot. In fact, he's ended up off the road down there because the car's understeered. In those conditions, they just don't respond to the steering input. Reynolds, Winterbottom, Mostert, Bright, Courtney.
It's a good restart by Bright then. It's a good manoeuvre down the inside. We're on board now with Whincup,
who's making ground.
Whincup is currently 8th.
So Perkins is a lap down here, mixed up in this in car number 18, the Gilpin entry, just in front there. Little margins opened up here. Look at Bright. He's all over Mostert. He's having a big crack at Mostert.
It's at turn 10. Robert Dahlgren had a stuck throttle, so he must have fired in the fence on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And plucked the rear wing off.
Ouch.
So
Reynolds, that's 0.2 of a second. He doesn't need any computer numbers because he's got Mark Winterbottom all over the back of that Falcon at the moment. Bright down the inside for 3rd. Done. There he is. Bright makes position. He was threatening that in the last lap. And he did it nicely at the bottom of the straight. Mostert doesn't look super strong there at the moment. The car doesn't look balanced because Courtney's going to slice him down the inside here. And Lowndes will go with him.
that's because of the strategy on those tyres, Neil. So I think really that Mostert's strategy, as Tim alluded to, is not quite in terms of tyre conservation the best at the moment. It may be after the next stop.
Oh, that was close. Lowndes almost ran out of road there. They both did on the little bit of exit apron. Oh, and a big understeer moment there for Whincup. And Lowndes is off the road. He's got damage.
Left-hand front.
Lowndes has got damage on the front left-hand corner of that car. Is it flat or damaged from contact? He'll have to come in. So the pole sitter is in trouble.
See this lap, change the left front.
Left front gone.
Willing racing in the restart. It's not uncommon. Lowndes has got to knock the speed off to get it through the little chicane here, get it in.
And this is the bit that smashes you, Neil, because you've got to put soft on. You can't put soft and hard together. So when you've got one ruined soft tyre, you effectively go on to another set.
Change for the lead. Larko.
Yeah, well, what's really sad for Frankie, the big number he'd saved up for this weekend. Have a look at these set of soft tyres. The only brand new set in the pit lane he was saving for this afternoon. Now he's got to use them early.
So we just saw the replay there of contact, front left to the right rear, front left of Lowndes to the right rear of Mostert.
Nothing underneath there. All clear.
And they need to be sure that the steering's right on that car and it's safe. They're taking the opportunity to make sure they squirt fuel in. Car number 47, Tim Slade, under investigation as well for using this, not using the same compounded tyre. And here's the replay of just exactly what happened there. So I'm quite sure why Craig made contact with Mostert then. But it's resulted in damage. And here's the change for the lead. It's all going on at once. This is Winterbottom down the inside at turn 1 on... It's sort of his teammate. But certainly those cars from the same garage. This is what I was trying to spit out a moment ago. Under investigation, Tim Slade, for not using the same compound of tyre. There may have been a mix-up there somewhere. Someone's mounted the wrong tyre or tyres on that car. You can't have an intermix. You've got to have all hards or all softs. They can be of any age. You can swap them around on the car, but you can't mix your hards and your softs together.
Robert Dahlgren, a stuck throttle has got to be one of the worst things a V8 supercar driver can experience. Must be pretty scary in the cabin.
Yeah, I mean, you just try to save it and not hit the wall or anything. I mean, fifth gear and flat out going into 90-degree right is not what you want, but yeah.
Talk to us about the conditions in the car. Very hot day out there today.
It's extremely hot, and I could already feel that the drink water that you press was really hot going out, so I just needed to spit it on my overall, and that is very early. So yeah, it's going to be a long day for them.
Tough days for you. We'll see you in Townsville. We know you enjoyed your trip up there last time.
Yeah, absolutely. See you there.
Yeah, for a guy who's come from his corner of the world to be dealing with these temperatures and that feeling, I know that feeling of sipping hot water in a race car because it heats up to basically cabin temperature. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it's not very Swedish, is it? It's not very cool. The other guy that we haven't mentioned very much yet, but is doing a great job, is Russell Ingall. So he's in 9th. Rick Kelly has done a good job too, to be up to 8th. And remember, they were on the same policy there, where they had a hard tyre, a new hard tyre at the start of the race. So that has been a big benefit as we get through this middle segment of the race, because remember, everybody's going to come in again, and when they come in next time, they'll put their best tyres on the car. So Winterbottom leads from Reynolds, Bright, Courtney, Whincup, Davison, Tander, Rick Kelly, Russell Ingall, Chaz Mostert, McLaughlin 11th. Highest place, Mercedes E63 is in 6th. Highest place, Volvo, Scott McLaughlin in 11th. And Rick Kelly, the highest place Nissan in 8th. Lucas Dumbrell looking on in his Charger. Russell Ingall right up in behind. Rick Kelly now, good battle. This is for 8th and 9th.
Incorrect tyre use, black flag. And they'll bring car number 47, Tim Slade, in. There goes Russell Ingall. You made reference to him. That was his team owner on the right, Lucas Dumbrell. Got a bit of sting in him at the moment, Russell Ingall. I said to him at V8 Extra program yesterday that he's been punching above his weight in terms of the team this year. He had that fairly difficult round in New Zealand, but many of the rounds this year have been very, very strong. The other guy that's got me puzzled at the moment, I'll find out a bit more about it, is Fabian Coulthard. 3rd in the championship, down in 23rd. We'll get to the bottom of that story. It's a 1.6 second margin, Winterbottom over Reynolds. It's Ford with Jason Bright 3rd.
Don't try and catch standard too quick. He's got a set of hards to come. Drive through, mate. Okay, mate. Now, first before to go here, just do the best you can. Look after their tyres. There could be a safety car to bring us back into it. You need anything, mate? Hey, copy. Yeah, right rear damage. So, into the garage. Into 15th garage, one before you. Hey, who the hell hit me? Because that was not my doing, I'm telling you. Unless I'm proven wrong after looking at it, but I was right up beside the bloke. 5 seconds left. Into the garage here, mate. 3. Clear when it drops. Clear when it drops. Go, go, go. Not sure, mate. Possible with the front. 5 to rear.
On lap 37 of 69, Sky City Triple Crown in Darwin. That's damage in the right rear corner of Todd Kelly's Jack Daniels Nissan. Frank Adamson, category technical manager, looking there. And whatever the contact was, it was pretty significant to do that amount of damage. So he's bumped into Lee Holdsworth, and they've all squeezed into the side of David Walsh, just a mess. And that's ultimately failed something in the right rear suspension. There it is in the background. And Todd came straight in on advice on the radio. And you can see the damage down the whole right-hand side of the car. It completely busted the right rear corner of the car.
It's a huge amount of damage for a slow corner, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's the double hit, because there were two lots of contact, because the 17 car got in the side there as well. Now we know, just on further analysis in that break, relative to the question that I asked about Fabian Coulthard, that he stopped twice. We're just going to find out what the reason was, and Larko's in the lane.
Yeah, and he's the guy to ask, Brett Jones. Fabian Coulthard, third in the championship, doing a great job, but he sort of disappeared off our radar, mate. What's happened there?
Well, we brought him in a lap too early and dropped him a lap out of it. So what we've done is fill the thing up with fuel when we realise what we're doing, and now we're just hoping that there's a safety car somewhere around now. Everyone will pit, he's got a tank full of juice to get back on the lead lap, and then he's back in the race. But we just made an error with him.
So for people at home to look out for him, I mean, what that really is going to mean, his next stop's going to be a short one.
Yeah, his next stop will be, well, hopefully his next stop will be after the next safety car, be back on the lead lap, short stop, good tyres, and work his way into the field.
All right, thanks, Brodo.
Thanks.
Thanks for that update. That's cleared that up. And car 6 came in, pitted for new soft tyres as well in the break. That's Chaz Mostert, Pepsi Max Sport Performance Racing. Now Mostert, where is he at the moment? He's down in 20th behind Lowndes, in front of Jack Perkins. We're riding with Rick Kelly, turn 5. This is where Robert Dahlgren went off before with a stuck throttle. The approach there is 215 kilometres an hour, and there's an instant where you realise that the speed hasn't retarded. He probably dipped the clutch and grabbed the brake, and it just rotated out in the paddock, and it started that little grass fire that we saw before, triggered the safety car. The guy that's got command at the moment and is just easing away is Mark Winterbottom, and the impressive aspect of his first stint was how those tyres were being looked after on that car. At great lap speed, and he's got a margin in hand at the moment, Brianna.
Todd Kelly, you had the tyres, you had the strategy in play, but that incident, it looked like there was a bit of contact between, I think it was Lee Holdsworth and one of the DJR cars.
Yeah, it's a shame. The start wasn't real flash. I actually went back to where I shouldn't have been in the first place, but the car pace was really good, a lot quicker than the cars in front, especially everywhere other than the front straight, and the DJR car ran really wide, and Lee was wide enough for me to be there, which I was, and I don't know what hit the rear wheel, but I was comfortably beside him and hooked on the curb to get out in front of those two cars, and just went bang. So whether he's turned in and just clipped that rear tyre, which they're quite vulnerable, the back of the cars there, so I couldn't really do anything about it once that happened, so it's a shame.
Disappointing way for the day to finish. We'll see you in a couple of weeks in Townsville.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Todd Kelly there, Jack Daniels Racing. Thanks, Rihanna, for the update. So there's the margin. Coates Hire leaderboard, 4.1 seconds. Winterbottom Ford Falcon to Reynolds Ford Falcon, Holden Commodore, Jason Bright, Will Davis in the first of the Benzes. Take a break.
Great job, buddy. Good pace. Use them up, mate. Use them up. Go to the end. Just behind Rick. I need 2 turns on my full soft on my front and nearly full stiff on my rear. Think? No, what do you think? Nah, stick with the plan, mate. 10.5, mate.
Mega Wall's got it covered on the track in the pit lane. Those amazing shots over the curb, Cam. Race control, they've been a bit busier today with the intervention of the Peters Chrysler safety car. That's Michael Massey in the foreground, then Jason Bargwana, Tim Schenken controlling activities down in there at the moment. Incidentally, no further action being taken in relation to the incident involving cars 4, 17 and 7 at turn 6. That was the one involving Lee Holdsworth, David Wall and Todd Kelly. And in the meantime, James Courtney's been blazing, and so has his teammate here, Garth Tander. Courtney's moved up to 3rd on Jason Bright, and Tander has just grabbed Will Davison and has gone into 6th position. And these guys are showing good speed and consistency on these tyres.
They certainly are. It won't be until everyone stops in the last segment of the race where we'll give you a bit better guide. This is a replay of that passing manoeuvre down the inside, which was James Courtney on Jason Bright. You can see Whincup in the background. Whincup's actually not, in terms of pace, as strong in this segment of the race as I thought he would be. And as I said, it won't be until after they stop the next time that we'll get a little bit better guide. Winterbottom won't have the tyre quality then that the Red Bull cars will, but he's, at the moment, he's got a 5.6 second lead over Reynolds. He's 9.5 seconds in front of Whincup. He's going very fast, 11.3 versus 11.8 versus 11.8 versus a 12.2, a 12.3. So he's a full second faster than Whincup on that lap.
Yeah, he's quick. And he's quick at the back end of the tyre life, which is where he's doing the damage on his competitors at the moment. I intercepted some radio chat before Shane Van Gisbergen to his guys, and they're preparing him for another stop in the not too distant future. And a lot of talk up and down the lane at the moment. Everyone hoping for another safety car intervention to unravel certain problems that they've all got. Here's David Wall. We saw him in the wars before at turn 6. He's got Russell Ingall breathing on him at the moment. Rusty's in 8th position and showing plenty of pace. Tyre management's been part of the key. They've got that car working and he's driving it very well. The inaugural winner here in Darwin back in 1998 came to the race meeting this weekend. 6 race victories to his credit. Here's the new 3rd place man, James Courtney, after we saw that move on the replay there before on Jason Bright down at turn 1. Courtney's got pretty reasonable pace in the back end of these stints as well. But the Ford duo of Winterbottom and Reynolds have got paces. That graphic shows quite clearly at the moment.
Look at this speedboat thing that I made reference to yesterday, how high the front of the car is and how low the back is. Look when it brakes, how far the front comes down. Whincup in.
So they're looking to try and get an undercut benefit here, get him on another set of tyres and get him out. But they've got a long gap to make.
This is a very interesting strategy call here now. Mark Larkham's right there. He's looking at the tyre temperatures.
Slarko lurking with his heat gun down there, just trying to get some intel. That was all pretty textbook, that stop. So on this set of tyres, they'll be looking to eke out some margin on Winterbottom.
25 laps on these, cold soft tyres, you should have clean air.
He's got lots of clean air. That'll be advantageous for sure. But what's mitigating against this at the moment is that Winterbottom's pace is still good.
Well, that's exactly right. There's Winterbottom up behind. So he's 3/4 of a lap behind based on that.
Guys, a busy and intense day in all the garages and the Holden Racing Team garages with Adrian Burgess. Adrian, Tim Slade's tyres, what happened there?
Look, I didn't actually see because I was in here looking after this little train set, but I think they've come in a different order. Tim was, I think they were expecting Tim in before Nick. They weren't quite ready with Nick. They serviced Nick and he went, and I think there's been a bit of confusion and Tim's gone out on a mixed set, which clearly wasn't what the plan was.
Adrian, James Courtney, we're just watching him here on screen, but his strategy now to bring this home?
We've still got one more stop to make, but we're going to stay on the softs all the way. We've got a plan that we're working to. The safety car hasn't helped. The car's got good pace, but I think my old friends down the road are probably in the box seat now. The safety car's probably helped them more than it's helped us.
Right, mate, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
So Adrian Burgess there making reference to Red Bull Racing Australia, his former employers. Look at this little stoush going on there, all over to the left side of the road at the moment, running down the dirty side. And Meantime, there's a bunch of cars just came in for a stop. McLaughlin was one of them. Mostert, Rick Kelly, now Craig Lowndes in. Remember that Lowndes had that damage, so they got away the 120 litres in the previous stop. That's the reason there's no fuel. It's just tyres for him.
23 to go. 23 to go. Just keep on going. You can see the point. Lots of guys out there have got to put on a lot worse tyres now, so we need to pick them off.
So Jeremy's just giving Craig a little guide, but remember he's got 3 new tyres because with the damage on the left front before, he had to put one of those new tyres on. So he put 3 fresh tyres on the right front and across the rear. It'll track around a lot.
First couple of laps will
it'll
be
be
ugly.
pretty ordinary. But once that settles, once that tyre grip starts to normalise, he'll have good tyre quality versus other people. There's been a bit of drama in pit lane. Is Rick? That's alongside. We're on his helmet, and there's
a lot of head shaking going on,
head waving and arm movements, and he was quite strong. He was up into the back of the top 10. In fact, he was 8th.
So I'm going to watch very carefully this margin between Winterbottom and Whincup. Right at the moment, it's a big margin. Here's the Norton Nissans in combat. Michael Caruso and James Moffat. Scott McLaughlin's gone out on fresh tyres and has gone fastest in the first sector of this race.
Teammates like that, you've got to get yourself organised.
Now, you might recall at the front of the show, we showed you that strategy. Remember the centre one, the fastest to get between point A and B? Well, that's pretty well the one Mark Winterbottom's on. Now, here's the tyres that are about to go on his car. Now, what they're going to do, you watch when he comes in, they're actually just going to swap his front tyres. They haven't done too much work. And these are a set of tyres that he used earlier in the day. Now, you might recall I showed you, they're about 37 degrees, and when they came off a car out here, they were 102 degrees. So these have had an opportunity to cool down to about, look at that, they're about 60 degrees at the moment. He'll put those on the rear of the car. So the big question now is, will Mark Winterbottom's used tyres be fast enough in that last phase of the race that Scapey's talking about versus, say, a Whincup that's on a set of tyres that only did qualifying yesterday, or this morning, sorry, a couple of laps?
Yeah, that is the big question. That's the one that I was alluding to before. Thanks for that, Larko. So Winterbottom goes on to something less than ideal tyres for this last stint. And he's got a margin over, for example, Jamie Whincup of 58 seconds at the moment. Scapey pointed out it looked like best part of 3/4 of a lap after that last stop. But there's a couple of others to consider in all this as well. The Holden Racing Team cars look quick, so does Jason Bright. What we don't know, because there's been so much variation in some of what's gone on and off the cars in this mid-segment of the race, is precisely what quality rubber everybody goes on to for the last portion of the event. New fastest lap, by the way, for Scott McLaughlin. Let's get back to the lane.
Neil, strategies at the moment are being written, ripped up and thrown away, rewritten, ripped up and thrown away. Tim, where are you at with Dave Reynolds and Mark Winterbottom? How soon till you bring them in?
Look, we're just trying to stretch it at the moment. When they're in clear air, Frosty's still doing pretty good lap time, so it's not a fantastic set of tyres we've got to put on. So probably in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Both of them, Dave as well?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for the update. And just looking a little bit further into the detail, and Tander was one of those that started on the hard tyre. He's 5th at the moment. He's got a brand new set of softs, for example, for the last stint of the race. It's going to get really interesting, folks. Do not leave this one. Mark Winterbottom's your leader.
We're leaving that left front at this point, so if it needs to be changed, the option's not that good, but just let us know. Mate, 4 tyres, 14 seconds of fuel in this lap. Great work, mate, great work. Another 3 laps on these tyres.
He's just waiting on fuel here, mate. Another couple of seconds. Go, pit lane clear, where you go, mate. So you got 19 to go, 19 to go. Remember to stay off the curve for these first couple of laps. Coming down on you, half-full position, but they're on the roof tyres. And 19 laps to go.
We're back in Darwin, and Mark Winterbottom is coming into the pit lane, the race leader with a 6.4 second margin. This is a critical stop. David Reynolds has taken the lead. Let's focus on this.
Okay, what we want to see, remember we said they're going to cross the front. These guys practice this as much as they practice pit stops proper. Watch these guys at the front. Round they go, swap, look, one in, one out. Well practiced, nice work. New set of rears on now. What I'm keen to see is the temperature of Mark Winterbottom's rear tyre now. And it's about 105, 106 degrees in the centre there. So make no mistake, he will be doing it tough at the back end of this race.
So Winterbottom in for his last stop, across the fronts, fresh tyres on the rear. Ingle, meantime, in the brake, has come in for a set of soft tyres on his car. There's a debris or an oil flag down there at the moment into one as well. There must be some. Oh, there's a little bit of junk on the road on the inside.
So that's real. That gap, that's real. And Van Gisbergen is real. So Van Gisbergen very strong over the weekend. So Winterbottom, this is this bit of a biff and barge session that we've been having with Courtney. Oh, sorry, Tander.
Yeah, Tander gets down the inside here of Bright. Jason turned in, I'm not quite sure why. He's obviously trying to cover the bends and the forward, but then it's bent the steering. Here's the replay also that I was about to explain of Ingle getting new tyres. Remember, they've only done qualifying, so these are fresh softs, and now in also is David Reynolds. So the two lead cars are in together with Tander. Tander goes on to fresh softs. David Reynolds is like his teammate, Mark Winterbottom. He's got to use the best of his cleanest, dirty shirts.
That's a good way of explaining it.
So he doesn't have the benefit of a nice new tyre. This man does. And when we say new, they've had a run in qualifying, but they've still got all that nourishment in them. They're still quick. And look at this. Wincup's made ground. So's Gizzy. Tander's a threat. Here he is, Larko.
Yeah, no, just to add to that, Mark, sorry, I'm talking to myself, Mark Scaife. To add to that, one of the reasons I want to look at Winterbottom's tyre temperature is that temperature which I... Oh, look at this full wide, hang on.
Bright's in trouble there. He's had the big lock-up. Sorry, Larko. Remember, he had some steering damage from the contact with Garth Tander, and that's running wide. We'll let him get back on, and you can continue, Larko.
Yeah, sorry, mate. No, I was just interested in Winterbottom's tyre temperature because that can be a real telltale to tyre longevity. And Mark's been going so well today that I thought he might have been running his tyres a little cooler, but that wasn't the case. So that's why I say I think he's still in for a tough afternoon.
And just to add insult to injury, pit lane infringement for Jason Bright, car 8. So he's going to get a drive-through penalty as we look here at Will Davison. It's all going on out there, so bad news for Bright. He's going to get a black flag next time round.
And the master is sitting back here with a bit of a smile on his face as he watches the apprentice, Dick Johnson, Scott Pye up to 15th. He's going all right. You must have given him a rev up, have you?
Actually, both the young guys are going pretty well, to be quite honest. I think it's just a matter of getting used to the car and the people they're working with, and they seem to be having a bit of a listen to what they've been told. So, yeah, they're going quite well, and we're really pleased about the whole thing at the moment.
Some good young talent there?
Yeah, I think so. The guys, if they want to listen and learn, there's every opportunity they can go forward. But if they want to do things their own way, you're pushing, uphill with a red-hot needle.
I know what you mean. Thanks, Dick.
Cheers, mate.
Dick Johnson. So that infringement for Jason Bright, as you may have seen in our graphic, was for spinning the rear wheels at the pit stop. So there is Scott Pye, car number 16. Wilson Security Racing in the DJR garage and up the inside and doing some very smart lap times. A couple of moments ago was car number 33, Scotty McLaughlin. So he's trying to get his ground back here as well. He's up into 9th as a result of that manoeuvre.
So Courtney last man remaining, who hasn't made his second stop. Winterbottom in second, so that's real track position. Rick Kelly fires down the inside at the final corner. He's having a pretty healthy battle all day with Russell Ingall. That was a good pass. Ingall now just ranging up onto Davison.
So Courtney's done 29 laps, Scapey, on this stint. That's a fair run.
It certainly is.
On a soft tyre.
But it will mean that the run on the last stint is short.
It up.
Here's Courtney in now. So this race will normalise after this stop is affected. We'll be able to give you a proper rundown of where we are.
James needs a short run in this last stint because he's got to reuse some softs here as well. That's what he's doing. So by comparison to his teammate Tander, Garth started on hards and he'll have pace. So let's see where he pops out. Here comes the race leader.
On the right-hand side.
It's Winterbottom, and it's Whincup like we thought. This is how it's resolving. And remember that Whincup's got good rubber. Van Gisbergen and his team at VIP Pet Foods have played a good game. Then it's Slade. This is all real. Then it's Reynolds. Then it's Courtney in position number 6. 3.1 seconds is the margin, and Fabian Coulthard in, remember, third in the championship, but he's a lap down and hoping for a break. We're back in Darwin. 2.5 seconds is the lead margin between Winterbottom and Whincup. Nick Percat just coasting down the inside of turn 1 there at the moment. Van Gisbergen is third, then David Reynolds, James Courtney, Tim Slade, Garth Tander, James Moffat. This man, Russell Ingall, is slicing through the field at the moment. He's got good rubber condition. Doesn't need to get involved in that stuff there with Rick Kelly. This is 10th and 11th. They are battling for position. Fighting to the death, and there's still a long way to go.
That's pretty wild.
And then Russell just returned serve.
That was pretty wild. He almost got turned around, but it takes 2 to tango with that. There's a bit of room out of turn 5 and then a bit of room out of turn 6 together. Both pretty hard races, and Russell Ingall got away with that one between 5 and 6. I thought there was going to be a spin.
Guys, I was just having a chat to Steve Hallam at VIP Pet Foods Techno, and they are very confident about Shane Van Gisbergen's position. I asked him whether he thought he could maintain his spot at third, and they're very confident that he can actually at least do that. They're hoping that he'll do better, so they're keeping a close eye on him, but they're very upbeat.
The way things are at the moment, it's a little bit early to get too carried away with points, but Frosty would have 167 points over Lowndes. Remember that Fabian Coulthard's having a shocker, and he's going to drop down the order, but because Wincup's in second at the moment, he'd only be 10 points behind Craig Lowndes. There's a replay, super slow-mo of Mark Winterbottom on the top of the curbing there at turn 10-11, and that double apex left-hander. That's been reprofiled, that curb, since last year. Grant McPherson, engineer for Mark Winterbottom on the left, team principal Tim Edwards on the right, and co-owner of the team, Rusty French there, a former competitor, still does a bit of racing in the middle. Here it is, the margin, 2.2 seconds, Winterbottom to Whincup. Whincup's got fresher, soft tyres. Mark Winterbottom, they've tried to scramble the tyres around to give him the best possible condition tyres to go racing in the last stint. 1 minute 11.7 for Winterbottom, 1 minute 11.5 last lap for Jamie Whincup, 11.5 for Van Gisbergen, 12.1 for Reynolds, 12.0 for Courtney. Tander is next, 12.1. James Moffat, great run in the Nissan, 11.9. Tim Slade, who's coming in now for that final stop. Remember, he had that drive-through earlier. He's just come into the pit lane now, and so he drops out of that top 10. This is a fine effort by young James. He's chasing Garth Tander very effectively here at the moment. This is 4th position. Tander 6th. Moffat is 7th. And they're in front of the Volvo of Scotty McLaughlin 8th. He's a real fighter, James Moffat.
See the pace there, Crompo. He's taken ground out of Garth Tander every lap over that graphic.
His best result here previously was in 2011. He grabbed a 13th spot, so James is on for a Darwin best performance, even if he stays where he is now. But on the numbers we saw on screen there a moment ago, he might even grab Garth Tander. But Garth is a tough ask. He's a fierce competitor, and he will not make it easy for him.
So 11.76 Winterbottom, 11.73 Whincup, 11.59 Van Gisbergen. So this battle for the front, the battle for the podium, and remember, Whincup could be the only man to have won the Triple Crown. If he can pass Winterbottom and win all 3 races over the weekend, he wins the Sky City Triple Crown. Never been done before. Reynolds is 4th, Courtney, then his teammate Tander. This battle with Moffat right behind Tander. McLaughlin's made good ground. Russell Ingall 9th and Rick Kelly 10th.
So it's going to be all about tyre condition, car setup, how you treat those tyres, and what you've got to fight with in the last 5 laps.
And the effect, sometimes with a heat cycle, the effect of running along after you've used the tyre is that they slightly get harder. So it may be that, and that Whincup doesn't get the gain on Winterbottom as that we think he will. It's a very difficult game, this one. 11.86, 11.76.
The fastest man is actually Shane Van Gisbergen. He punched out an 11.5 on that lap. So he's pushing extremely hard, Van Gisbergen. Car number 97, the black and yellow Holden Commodore VIP Pet Foods. He's right in the wake at the moment of the reigning champion.
And it looks like what Steve Hallam told us about Shane Van Gisbergen is spot on. He's got plenty. The big question is, how far can Jamie Whincup go? And I'm with Mark Dutton. Dutto, can Jamie catch Frosty?
Oh, mate, it's going to be tight, and our mate from stable down the road, Van Gisbergen's making it not easy for us either. So obviously we're all racing each other, but when you start looking in the rearview mirror, you drop a bit of lap time. So that's playing to Frosty's hand, but he's going to push to the end.
Good luck.
Cheers, Brett.
Looking at Jamie Whincup on the left of screen, team manager on the right of screen was Mark Dutton. This is a very, very tense moment for all these crews, particularly for the boys in there at Techno Autosports. You look at the performance over the years of Mark Winterbottom, Scafie, and the podium success that he's had here has been extraordinary.
Yeah, we were just laughing a second ago also that his Sunday performance in the big races, the 150-point races, he's had an unbelievable run this year, Neil. So that's been, in terms of actual wins, Whincup's obviously gone very well, and there's a sort of almost a Saturday emphasis for Jamie, but a Sunday one for Mark, and that in terms of the overall championship. And as you said a minute ago, 167-point lead if it stays as it is. It's been an extraordinary run. There's the gaps. Basically, 0.2 was the most, and almost nothing on the previous lap.
So wins so far this year for Mark Winterbottom. Race 9 at Winton, race 11 in New Zealand, race 13 in New Zealand. He might grab a 4th today. He's got 1.9 seconds as a cushion. Grant McPherson, his engineer. That's him on the right of screen. He's losing just a little fraction in every sector at the moment. But what will definitely help his cause is the fact that Van Gisbergen is giving Jamie Whincup a serious headache. And he's driving it shallow. He's not slow. So Van Gisbergen is nicely positioned there at the moment.
David Couch said, eyes forward, which that's all fine to say. But he's had to move it down. There's something wrong. Oh, he's moved it over. He did it on purpose. He moved it over. He just took the pressure out of that battle. He's actually let Van Gisbergen go. And he thinks that Giz might be able to catch Winterbottom. He come out of the throttle, he moved it over. And he's let him go.
Oh, that's a strategic move. An interesting one. Remember that Whincup's been on a climb back. There it is again in replay. There's the leader. And so Whincup just dived to the inside, changed positions in a heartbeat. I looked down, looked up, and they changed. Unbelievable. And look at that speed difference.
I thought he was going off the road. I thought that Gisbergen had outbraked himself. But it was, in essence, a clever thing. This is Steve Hallam looking on at young Shane's progress. And you watch how hard this young bloke drives the car now. He will leave nothing.
Quite an interesting strategy play. Remember, this car that Shane is driving was built by 888 Race Engineering. They're a customer, Techno Autosports. But they're racing each other, as Mark Dutton pointed out a moment ago. But strategically, they've decided that it's better for Jamie just to let this battle unfold between Winterbottom and Van Gisbergen. It's 1.9 seconds.
12-2 versus an 11-7.
So he is throwing up a fight here at the moment. And after 2 race wins yesterday and a bundle of points and a clever strategy play today, and a bit of a comeback weekend for Whincup, he's looking to recover from what's been a bit of a topsy-turvy run since Tasmania earlier in the year.
This will be a real test for this young man who didn't qualify well enough. Mark Winterbottom disappointed with qualifying 10th today when his championship combatant Craig Lowndes was on pole position. He's driven very well in the race. He's driven the car very smoothly. He's looked after the tyres very well. He's a little bit underdone now because the tyre he had to use early, he's using again. So he's going to battle a little bit versus Van Gisbergen. And have a look how much effort Van Gisbergen is throwing at it.
Driving it like it's a qualifying lap. It's a 1.5 second margin between Winterbottom and Van Gisbergen. Frosty has a breather. Looks at all the numbers, has a glimpse in the mirror to check whether or not that yellow Commodore's getting closer, and the answer it is. 1 minute 12.3 for Winterbottom, 1 minute 11.9 for Van Gisbergen, 12.5 for Whincup. The best of those tyres has been and gone. David Reynolds is 4th, Courtney is 5th. This is the battle. Van Gisbergen, who's had a win already this year in New Zealand, he's on the charge at the moment. It's Ford versus Holden, turn 5. 1.3 seconds. Van Gisbergen took more time out of sector 1.
He's going to latch the left-hand front wheel over the curb. Again, he's using every little bit of road. We're looking back from Mark Winterbottom, who's leading the race. Back to Van Gisbergen, who's using every bit of road. I love it when you watch him drive like this. He's got lots of vigor, lots of car control required.
To the second intermediate, more time gain. It's 1 second. Winterbottom to Van Gisbergen. Fabian Coulthard climbs out of the way. This is heartbreaking for his championship today. That's knocked him around, but he'll bounce back. 1 minute 12.4 for Winterbottom. 1 minute 12.0 for Van Gisbergen. Officially 1.1 seconds. Don't need the clock now. You can quite clearly see that Van Gisbergen is on the charge. A little bit of oversteer mid-corner there for Van Gisbergen. He's squeezing every last ounce of performance. Is he hurting the tyres too much?
Jamie Whincup gave 9 points away to let Van Gisbergen by. It's 150 for first, 138 for second, and 129 for third.
But looking at his lap speed, I don't know that he had any choice, Whincup. I think we've seen the best of his numbers, and that was strategic. He just wants to stay out there, grab points, circulate, and consolidate, because he's in clawback mode. He can, at the end of this race, be in third place in the championship on current numbers.
And a little bit of Red Bull policy, a bit of Jamie Whincup smarts will also work out is if Shane Van Gisbergen gets by Mark Winterbottom, Mark Winterbottom drops 12 points from first to second. So in the championship hunt, that has another sort of liability as a consequence.
Yeah, because it's weighted to the winner. So 0.7 of a second is the margin officially. 1 minute 12.4 for Winterbottom, 12.0 again for Van Gisbergen. This is going to get resolved on the absolute last portion of the last lap. Can Van Gisbergen get by Winterbottom is the question. He's driving the wheels off that Commodore at the moment, and Winterbottom is doing everything in his power to hang on.
But what do you do when you're leading? If he does get to you, you don't want to have a battle either. I mean, you don't want to be put out. So if Van Gisbergen dives, they both put both cars out, you don't do it.
And if you're the championship leader, there's more risk than reward. However, if you are Shane Van Gisbergen, have a go. Rip in. That's the job.
Absolutely.
So the guy that we're looking at here at the moment doesn't have as much to lose. He's got everything to play for. And it's exactly 0.7 of a second now. Up to the top of the circuit in the northwestern area. The crowd's enthralled. Van Gisbergen slides the Holden. There's not a millimetre left on this racetrack for Van Gisbergen at the moment. He's dancing in every corner of the stage. Drops it into the dirt on the final corner at turn 14. Check the margin.
0.7.
0.7 it is. They both did a 1 minute 12.5. Whincup's rolled out of it. He's done a 13.1. There he is in the distance. They're on the last lap. It's 2,870 metres of racetrack, and Van Gisbergen is absolutely squeezing it at the moment. I don't know that he's got enough. Frosty might get there. He was a winner last year. That was an awkward entry into turn 5 for Frosty, and he had to turn it in early to get away with it. He slides off turn 5. He's losing ground. It's going to be on in the last half of this lap. Turn 6. Gizzing up on the curb, throwing everything at it. Ford Performance Racing, they'll be so nervous in the garage. They'll be cheering on with butterflies at Techno Autosports. The Kiwi is coming. The crowd is loving this. 3 corners remaining. Will there be Biffo? Slides through the S's. Van Gisbergen has done a mighty job, and it is not done. He throws the Holden at the Falcon off the final corner, and Mark Winterbottom survives one of the great races. Well done, Frosty. Mega drive. 0.5 of a second. Great motor racing.
What a classic Ford and Holden moment. Factory Ford team have hung on Mark Winterbottom. Extraordinary drive. Tyre quality was his problem. And also for Van Gisbergen, the young Kiwi charger, right up to the back. He missed the back of Mark Winterbottom's car by millimetres at the final corner. And a great fight back weekend for Red Bull Racing with Jamie Whincup in third position. Wow. I thought he had him. I thought Van Gisbergen was going to get there. And Winterbottom, you can see the elation. You can see the look on his face. The reaction from the crowd. Ford fans have united. The hill went mad on the last lap, which is just extraordinary. Look at this. Check this out. Oh, there is nothing between those two cars. If they make contact, Winterbottom spins and the series leader is out of the race. It doesn't happen. Van Gisbergen measured with his response. And look at that, the fist pump. Mark Winterbottom, well done. Oh, he's now decided to do burnouts. You've got to tell the rest of the field first. And this is what I said about the Ford fans. You can hear it above all of the car noise in this cauldron at Hidden Valley. Great reaction. And haven't they seen a sensational motor race today for the Sky City Triple Crown?
Well done, Mark Winterbottom. Nice performance. And that takes the pressure off, because remember that margin in the championship for him got down to 65 points. There's Renee, his wife, co-owner, is Rusty French. 161 is the official margin between first and second in the championship at the moment. So remember, it got down to 65 points. He lost margin, 36 points he lost net yesterday. He's taken a nice little breather today, and that was a mega drive. He was under big pressure.
Oh, absolutely. And his tyre quality wasn't as good, Neil. That was the best part of the drive, wasn't it? He drove it straight. He got every last bit from that Ford Falcon today. And what a classic Ford Holden battle. Craig Lowndes 17th after that damage with the right front.
After all that strategy, all that hard work, and it would be hot and hard, Mark Winterbottom gets the job done. Well done. He knows that that one was an important statement to make.
Great reaction. Toole, he's laughing. He knows how much effort went into that.
Brilliant stuff. Look at this closing margin. Turn 14, the last corner on the racetrack. Van Gisbergen just did everything he could do. He threw that car at Mark Winterbottom through the final corner. It didn't matter where it landed. And in the end, the margin was half a second across the line. Terrific motor race.
Look at this. Oh, if he makes contact, Winterbottom spins.
So you've got to hand it to Shane Van Gisbergen too. It's an impressive run. Here's Barrett's.
Frosty, we really want to talk to you. That was an amazing race. Thanks for that. Nerves of steel in that last few laps.
It's an incredible race. It's good to have those different formats, I guess, tyres where you got some on hard, some on softs. It instantly felt good, but then we reused a set of softs and had to bring it home, and Shane was coming, but that's awesome. I'm so happy we won. It's a good way to bounce back from yesterday.
And you really put your stamp back on the championship. You'll go away from Darwin with a 161-point lead. That's mission accomplished, right?
Well, yeah, it is, but, yesterday was a bad day, but it was about turning today into something special, and I reckon that's one of the best wins I've had with this team. It was awesome to hang on with them, count down the laps, and one more, I reckon we're gone. So just awesome to get that win with the boys.
Awesome. Incredible heart and skill. Well done, Frosty. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Shane Van Gisbergen, boy, oh boy. You produced an incredible pursuit there. Did you think at some point there in that last lap that you were going to get past Frosty?
No, once I got past Jamie, I had one good lap and then the tyres were gone. But Mark was struggling, but they did a pretty good job for the tyre strategy they ran. But, man, after those first few laps running yesterday's tyres, that was tough work. We were lucky with a safety car and good strategy. But, yeah, I'll take P2 after the last round we had.
Well, thanks for taking us along on one of the great finishes of the year, Shane. Enjoy that. Well done.
Thanks a lot. Gave it everything.
Jamie, very strategic today to just move aside and let Shane get through. Did you decided that was just the best way to go?
Yeah, Shane was much quicker. Our tyres sort of were well and truly gone. I wanted to see a race, to be honest. I knew I wasn't going to be able to challenge Frosty, so I thought I'll let Gizzy through and see what he can do. But it was obviously, I was just a spectator like everyone at the end there watching on. The boys scrap it out. But, yeah, congratulations to Mark and his team. They were the quickest on the day, so the quickest always deserves to win.
And a smart move for your championship as well. Well done, Jamie.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
James Courtney, Garth Tanner, P5 and 6. Well done, boys. I don't know how it looked from where you guys were. From this side of the arm car, that was a fabulous race.
I just spat on you. Sorry about that, everyone at home. But no, it's from inside the car the whole time. It's like driving on eggshells with your feet and trying to maintain the steering. Just because we made the tyres last, the softs, the whole distance. So. It was pretty tough, a lot of concentration, but the guys had a great job with the strategy. We got caught out a little with the safety car, but no, all in all.
You got caught out.
But yeah, all in all, it wasn't too bad.
And Garth, what do you think? I mean, from an event point of view, the strategy options, I guess the soft and hard tyre works pretty well. Makes it tough.
Yeah, it makes it tough. And now I know what those F1 guys are talking about when you've got to drive the car so below its performance to make the tyre live. So. Yeah, look, it was our strategy all along was to do what we did, and it worked well. Like JC said, the safety car sunk us, and then I had to wait behind JC a little while. So cars were really good, looked after their tyres well. So it would have worked if it wasn't for that safety car, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Pesky kids.
And we'll get a good insight into you guys from next weekend on 7 Mate, I think, on V8 Live. Look forward to that, eh?
Yeah, it's awesome. You get to see some crazy stuff what we're doing. So
James gets naked, so see it.
Everyone's going to switch off now.
That sound from here is television switching off. Maniacs there. Garth Tander, James Courtney. We'll look forward to V8 Live. Here's the results. Race number 19. Mark Winterbottom got home by half a second. David Reynolds, That's equal best performance of the season for him. It was the worst performance of the season, sadly, for Fabian Coulthard. That's hurt him in the championship. Everybody has got quite a story to tell. Let's get down and celebrate one of the great podiums.
The Sky City Triple Crown, our 19th race of the year and one of the greats. Would you please congratulate our first place driver for Ford Pepsi Max crew, Mark Winterbottom. In second place for Team Techno VIP Pet Foods, Shane Van Gisbergen. And in third place for Red Bull Racing Australia, Jamie Whincup. Representing the winning team, Ford Pepsi Max crew, Richard Jacobs. Making the presentation of the third place trophy is Callum Mellett, the Chief Operations Manager for our naming rights sponsor, Sky City Darwin. Presenting the second place trophy is the Honourable Peter Chandler, MLA, Minister for Education, the Northern Territory Government. Making the presentation to the winning team is Cam Pearce, the National Marketing Director of our major sponsor, Cooper's Brewery. And presenting the first place trophy is the Honourable Adam Giles, MLA, Chief Minister, Northern Territory Government. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2014 V8 Supercars Sky City Triple Crown Darwin Race 19 winners.
So it's an open margin now of 161 points between Winterbottom and Lowndes. Fabian Coulthard's lost a spot in the title chase so far, and Chaz Mostert lost a spot as well. A genuinely exciting race, a lot of strategy options, and there it is, the start. Chief Minister for the Northern Territory, Adam Giles, was there with Damien White to flag them away, and straight away, David Reynolds on soft tyres round the outside. The Red Bull boys, boy, they were getting clipped every which way. That was Russell Ingall. They started on hard tyres, and those that were on the softs were immediately effective. And the champion was drifting through the pack. It was a risky strategy, aided by a safety car. In the end, they still got a result and important points. Big pressure on Cruz.
And there was plenty of midfield action, Croppo. There was so much drama, and this was drama. Robert Dahlgren, full throttle. Throttle stuck off the road. That was the safety car. And at that point then, the drama unfolded in pit lane also. Garth Tanner got helped into the pit lane there. And there was this damage, left-hand front, bang with Mostert and Lowndes. That put Lowndes into the pits, left-hand front tyre only to go on that. And then Kelly, Holdsworth, Wall, all got caught up at turn 6. Look at the damage on the back of the Nissan Altima. They actually had a good day in terms of speed. James Moffat ended up 7th. And there was a great run through the middle of this pack for Mark Winterbottom and Dave Reynolds. It was a great drive in the centre of this also between Rick Kelly and Russell England. The battle at the end. Whincup just gave the spot away and gave it to Van Gisbergen.
Big tension in the garages at the back end of the race. The margin was closing all the time between Winterbottom and Shane Van Gisbergen. Look at these guys. They were barely breathing. And this was the last corner of the last lap. And Van Gisbergen threw that Holden at Mark Winterbottom, but Frosty prevailed. What a great story. Well done, Mark Winterbottom. Another win this year.